Hello, my fellow humans. We are all here sharing this human experience together. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new, thank you so much for joining us. Today we are going to be looking into how would a tarot reader describe you to them. So I'm going to be kind of tapping in if they've gotten a tarot reading about you. We're going to see what was said on that tarot reader, on that tarot reading, and how you were described to them. I do have things set up a little bit differently today. I'm actually, once I pick this card, I'm going to flip these cards over, and we're going to be choosing from these as well. So just something else to choose from, but I really felt called to doing it this way. And I'm not sure, I haven't brought this deck out in a while. If you guys are wondering what this deck is, there's also a book that you can buy. I have the book as well. But it's Astrology of You and Me. It's great. Like, so if you're studying astrology, this is definitely a book that you can purchase. The book looks just like this, pink and blue, or you can also work with the astrology cards. They're really great for helping you, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know, using it as like, what are those things called? Oh, you know what I'm talking about, flashcards. Someone said it, thank you so much. Yeah, flashcards. So yeah, they're just really great, but I felt really called to doing this today. We're not going to actually get any information from the book in regards to these specific cards because we are using the Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians Oracle. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and hop to our prayer. Also, just quickly, if the message does resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. It is a free way to help support the channel, and that also, just so you know, I do read all the comments, even if right now I'm a little bit behind on responding because I was sick. I will get to responding to them all. I do try to keep up with that so that you know. But I do love hearing how the readings resonate with you and how they impact you as well. It's just truly a blessing for me to be here with you today. So let's go ahead and hop to our prayer and we will get this reading going. And if you guys hear the air in the background, it's pretty warm today, so I am running the AC. And that's not something that I can really control, but after the video's been on for a little while, that usually does diminish into the background. So, and I've got some frequencies playing as well. All right. My beloved sources, prayers for any and all who come onto this reading today, whether it's for a moment's time or for the entire time. You know, it's always curious seeing how other people perceive us or what it is, the information that people are trying to find on us. And while it truly doesn't matter, because the only thing that matters is how we view and observe, see, love ourselves, the readings like this just help us to clarify our intuition. It can help us make a better choice moving forward if we've been nudged to recognize that someone's not for us, or even recognizing if someone is for us can just help re-clarify our own intuitive notions. But in no way, shape, or form is that the truth of who we are, how someone sees us, what information a person gets on us, or what others hear through the grapevine about us. That these are all either tidbits, snapshots, or blatant lies about who we are. And if people aren't willing to actually ask us face to face and get to know us face to face, that it doesn't matter. None of it matters. But today I ask that you help us open the road to seeing ourselves through eyes of unconditional love, to accepting and approving of ourselves, to validating how we feel, to seeing the truth of our journey in front of us and knowing that we don't need to compare ourselves to anybody out there, because each of us have our own unique path to go on, and no two paths are exactly alike. So it's fruitless to compare ourselves to others. It's fruitless to use another's opinion of us to determine or decipher how we move forward. It's fruitless for us to rely on everything outside of us in order to become us. But rather today I ask that you give us the courage, the knowledge, the wisdom to tap into our inner hearts and recognize what it is that we desire deep down, what's coming from our soul, Where is it that we want to be in a week, in a month, in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, and know that we can make that decision today. We can choose to become the reflection of that person today. And we can continue to make those choices that are going to be set aside for our highest good. And we can still be the embodiment of love and compassion and kindness as we go, while also using our discernment to decipher a person's intentions, whether they be good or bad for us, and to make decisions accordingly. As this prayer is spoken upon this reading and onto this tribe today, so shall it be. Amen. Aho, Ase. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. Let me get that set up over here. I am going to have to get some new incense soon. I'm running out. I've had this box of incense for 3 years, probably since I started this channel. So definitely need to get some new ones because I'm getting down to my last 2 bags of them. All right, so we're going to be looking into this further with the Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians Oracle today by Sophie Brashford. I absolutely love this deck. Such an amazing deck to work with. Beautiful art. But let's get to shuffling and find out, how would a tarot reader describe you to them? And this could be anybody. This could be a lover, this could be a friend, this could be an acquaintance, a coworker, a boss, a family member. This could be anybody in your life. If you're wondering if someone got a reading on you, this is going to be what was said during that reading, okay? And again, trusting your intuition. I do always say to recognize that there might be triggering statements that do arise on the readings themselves. There's no obligation to force it to fit, and keeping in mind that triggers can be a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journeys, okay? All right. Pile 1. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? What oracle card is going to help us better understand this message today? Thank you, Source. Okay, pile 2. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? Thank you. Pile 3, how would a tarot reader describe you to them? Whoa, okay. So, I know you guys can't see this, but the card flipped out and it's like laying flat against my tum-tum. Just was like laying on my tummy. That's cute, funny. Alright, bottom of the deck. Ooh, King Neptune with sensitivity. Actually, let me move it over here. Love this. So you could have Pisces energy highly aspect in your chart, specifically Neptune in Pisces, a ton of 12th house placements. You could have a 12th house stellium, or you could have Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. If you do not, that is okay. But this is going to be especially true for those of you that do have Pisces placements. Okay. Pisces placements in your chart. We're just going to go with it. I love being human. It's fun. But how a tarot reader described you to them is that you're incredibly sensitive and you have emotional maturity, and you are not someone that is quick to make a judgment based on your emotions. You rather sit with your emotions and you allow yourself to feel through them. And once you feel through them, then you're able to make a decision or a choice or to move forward on your journey. There's also profound depth to you that not a lot of people get to experience. You're somebody that has so much to offer, but not very many people are willing to knock on that door, right? A lot of people, they're scared because when you look in their eyes, you see their soul. You don't see, or you don't pretend to notice their mask, right? Like you recognize their mask and you look beyond the mask, and you're not trying to appease the emotional ego. Rather, you're trying to get to know someone. You're inviting people in to get to know you on a deeper level, but a lot of people are just scared to take that step. They're scared to take that leap because it means rising up to your level, and not a lot of people are willing to do that. So many people want to live superficially. They want to live in this place of being the victim. They want to live in this place of being the one that's hard put out, like no one understands me, no one can see where I'm coming from. But the truth is that you paint the picture of, we all experience hardships, we all go through something that's difficult in our lives, and we're all this person that can either be driven by that, fueled by that, or we can be completely demolished and destroyed by that. And our choice will always be ours to make. You are someone that's not afraid to go deep with other people as well. And when you love wholeheartedly, like you're 1,000% in. There's no doing anything half-heartedly with you. When you're passionate about something, you're 100% in. When you love somebody, you're 100% in. Loyalty means something to you, and you show up as a very loyal and sincere person, which has a tendency to intimidate and overwhelm others as well. You are a leader, and you work hard for what it is that you have in your life, and you are trying to create and manifest a unique life for yourself that is emotionally, spiritually, and mentally challenging, while also being fulfilling in all those areas as well. And that sensitivity is what guides you. You are driven by your heart chakra. You're not driven by the emotional want or the egoic wants and needs. You're driven by what it is that your heart truly desires, even if that goes against the grain. And I feel like a lot of people have a tendency to judge you in a snap judgment based on when they first meet you. It's not that you're not an approachable person, you very much are, but many people have a tendency to judge you and mistake your kindness for your weakness. And that's not. Your kindness is actually the most beautiful thing about you, and it's actually your strength. Where your strength derives from is because you've had to learn to let go of people-pleasing tendencies and not give in to what others have expected or even have asked of you. You've had to learn what it is that you expect and ask of yourself. And through this process of shedding and letting go, you've learned that you can stand powerful, want what you want, while still being approachable and loving to others. You've overcome some incredibly emotionally dependent situations. You've learned to put yourself out there and express yourself freely. You are also very much involved in something that lights your soul on fire. Even if you're very much in the beginning, or if you're somewhere in the middle, or if you're closing in on an ending to this chapter, you're very much working hard, diligent at what it is that you're creating. And you don't put that on the back burner for anybody. No matter how much you love somebody, no matter how much you want to be in a person's life, you will always put yourself first. And this also tends to turn people off, not because it's a bad thing, but because a lot of people want to be the sole attention holder of others, including yourself, with the beautiful light that you have. They want to be the sole attention holder of that. And because they're not, they will go and find someone else who will fulfill that egoic need that they're searching for. And not a lot of people are willing to step up spiritually, emotionally, and mentally to the heights that you've already attained. However, there are many people out there who are equally on that same level as you, and I do feel like you're about to open the door to meeting those individuals, or they're coming in and they're going to be wanting to get to know you and building a friendship or connection with you. It is something that's very much on the horizon, because they see that you are somebody that is amazing, smart, witty, and incredible, and that together you both can grow, or together you all can grow to new heights. And that's exactly what these new people are looking for. But whomever it is that's getting the reading on you, I'm not really getting that they're at that stage just yet, but I do feel that many people who've gotten a reading on you, whether they want to admit it or not, they do admire you and they do respect you. So regardless if they're gossiping about you or if they're spreading lies about you, which I know it sounds weird, right? Like, why would someone admire me and then go and spread lies about me? It's just because they're coming from a wounded ego. and they're trying to make themselves be a bigger, better person than you, but they can't. Spiritually, when they look at you, they recognize that you are eons ahead of where they're at on their journey, and it leaves them feeling like they'll never catch up. But rather than asking you for help, they're coming from that wounded ego, and they're doing anything that they can to save their own face and to save their own feelings. But there is a sense of underlying respect for you, and I do feel like it is wrapped in guilt. Like how they treat you or what they're saying about you is definitely wrapped in guilt, and it's creating a situation where they're going to be forced to look at themselves. But there are other people who definitely are respecting you, they are admiring you, they really love seeing how far you've come, and in seemingly a very short time. So King Neptune says, you are a highly sensitive soul. Embrace your softness and your vulnerability. Yes. King Neptune is a guardian of an ancient spiritual world called Lemuria, a light-filled civilization connected to the Indian and Pacific Oceans. With a pure, harmonious, and peaceful frequency, Lemurians were psychic sensitives with wide-open heart chakras. Yes, exactly what I was saying. The oceans carried intuitive codes that were transmitted through dolphins, whales, and mer people. Crystal healing was part of daily life. King Neptune was a shapeshifter and a merman who later became Poseidon in ancient Greece. His symbols are the trident, the horse, and the bull. He guides Lemurian lightworkers to fulfill their earthly missions. Drawing this card confirms that you already know you're incredibly sensitive to emotional and psychic energies. Most likely you've had to numb yourself to the harsh, closed-off consciousness of the modern world, as it doesn't understand or value the way you are. You may have previously lived in Lemuria and are now bringing crystalline qualities of empathy, heart chakra healing, and sensitivity to earth. Your Lemurian soul is an expert at reading emotions and taking the psychic temperature of any room. You sense every undercurrent, especially what's not being openly expressed, right? Looking beyond the masks. Being in crowds and highly stimulating environments can be challenging. You need beauty and art, romance, lyrical music, serenity, the ocean, nature, crystals, animals, and people who are open to the spirit world. You like tenderness, softness, and gentleness, especially in relationships. If you've been numbing yourself with addictive substances, unhealthy relationships, or overworking, for example, ask King Neptune to help. Embracing vulnerability is a key lesson for you in this lifetime. You may unconsciously sabotage wonderful experiences and relationships because of an old fear of being emotionally exposed. King Neptune says it's safe to let others into your heart. Your sensitivity is a gift. Rather than shutting off from your soft heart, make friends with your Lemurian light. It says you're a Lemurian light worker. Take steps to reconnect with your soul's experiences in Lemuria, connect with crystals for healing purposes, and have an open-hearted conversation with someone. The invocation here is, my sensitivity is a spiritual gift and it's safe to be vulnerable. What a powerful message to come through for the collective energy right off the bat. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip these off over here, and we're going to put them like this. And the reason I'm not showing the whole card is because I just want something else for you to choose from, and then we're going to look at the card in the reading itself, okay? So, interesting. Now, these can be what you resonate with, right? But they might also just be something else to choose from, or you just might be drawn to it, okay? Alright, so for pile 1, we do have the Sagittarius coworker. That's the card that came out here, okay? And then we also have, interesting because you got the 10th house for pile 1. I love how that worked out. So we've got the 10th house dice. We also have the Cornelius gemstone sacral chakra with the seed sound Vam on it. So this is for the sacral chakra. Pile 2, we have the Libra parent. We also have this dice with Leo on it for you to choose from. We have the yellow jasper sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra with the seed sound Ram on it. In pile number 3, we have, we have the Taurus parent here. And then we have the moon on this dice for you to choose from. We have the jade gemstone heart chakra with the seed sound Yam. So we pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, and whichever pile you feel called to, that should be the one for you. And I will see you over there. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this card, the Sagittarius coworker, or perhaps you felt called to this dice with the 10th house on it, or maybe you were drawn to this gemstone, which is Carnelius for the sacral chakra with the seed sound Vam on it. Or maybe this card called out to you during the shuffle. This is your reading on how would a tarot reader describe you to them. So we'll take a look at these later. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining us. We're all here sharing this human experience together, and I do things differently here on this channel, so there might be triggering statements that do arise on the readings themselves. There's never an obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers can be a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journeys. Should the message happen to resonate, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. It's a great way to support the channel as well. And please know that your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm deeply honored to be here sharing it with you. So excited to be back. I'm definitely feeling a lot better. I want to say thank you to anyone who gave me prayers while I was gone, and also to those of you that gave me tips and tricks for sicknesses, healthy, natural ways to overcome things. I really always appreciate that knowledge and that wisdom. It does help, and I do try it as well. So I just want to say thank you. But with that, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out pile 1. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? Source, what would you like to share for pile 1 today? How would a tarot reader describe you to them? And this could be anybody that you are wanting to know if they've gotten a reading on you, or as we get into the reading, you might intuitively be guided to a specific person who's gotten a reading on you. So just however you feel called to label that, that's fine. And just remembering to keep an open mind, because there might be some really deep information that comes through today, okay? So we do have the 3rd house. We have Sagittarius energy here, and we've got Mercury. Interesting. So this could be someone that feels like you're polar opposite that got the reading on you. And I feel like that's the first thing that they would say about you, is that you're their polar opposite. And that even though you're their polar opposite, there's something about you where you have gone through a lot in your life, where you've had to adapt to certain challenges, you've had to overcome certain situations, especially with family, close family, or your living situation. I'm specifically getting shown here a foster situation, which is very, very specific and will only resonate with one, maybe a handful of people. But foster situation coming in where you had foster siblings, and there was a lot of push and pull dynamic between you and your siblings. This could also be in your home life if you weren't a foster child, like just you had a lot of push and pull between your siblings at home, or there was a favorite and a golden child and you felt like the black sheep, but you were always the one out of all the kids in your home growing up that had the biggest smile on your face. You were the one that was the most positive, or you had the most positive outlook into life, even if you were quiet or didn't say much. Like, you just always knew that things would work out for you. You trusted in your gut feelings, your intuition, but you also stopped and took a step back and looked at things logically. And when they didn't make sense logically, you realized this doesn't have to be something that I resonate with, or this doesn't have to be something that I take on as my identity either. And I do feel like that's what made you feel like the black sheep a lot of times within your family dynamics, is because you were able to see things from a much higher spiritual place and a place of love. And when people around you are very connected to the 3D realm, or very connected to the material way of life, or very connected to maintaining certain generational traumas or traditions. And when I say traditions, it could have been that the traditions themselves were actually very traumatic in a sense, right? And you saw that and you were like, why do we do this, right? Like, why do we keep acting this way? Why do we keep showing up this way? So you were the questioner. You were very inquisitive as a child. I still feel like you are incredibly inquisitive now. But what's changed for you from that childhood dynamic is that now you've learned to let your inquisitive self take you on adventures and take you down the rabbit hole of knowledge, or the rabbit hole of wisdom, or the rabbit hole of spirituality. Like, however you want to paint that, you are definitely allowing yourself to keep this very curious nature about you and seeing things with eyes of a child. And also letting your logic and your reasoning be something that leads you to continuing to asking these deeper questions. You know, like, what's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of my life? What's the purpose of my being here in this time and in this place? And that has given you a leg up on the journey where you're able to fluidly adapt to new situations, and you're able to use the wisdom you've garnered from your experiences in life, and as well as listening to your spiritual self, to navigate rocky waters or difficult roads or challenges and obstacles that might arise each and every day. And I do feel like the other thing is too, is that they would say that you get gossiped about a lot. And it's very interesting that you get gossiped about a lot, because you're not somebody that likes drama, and you try very, very hard to stay away from drama. And in fact, I feel like you're very good at staying clear of drama. However, there's a lot of people that drag you into their drama without you even being present. Like, suddenly you become a part of people's stories and you're not even around to be a part of that story. And I feel like that's something that has led you to being more of, they said recluse, and I do feel like that's true for some, but I feel like more like a hermit energy coming through as well for others. But a recluse slash hermit, like, you're not somebody that goes out and tries to make a million friends. You're very much keep to yourself. Your knowledge, your wisdom, your search for a deeper meaning is what drives you, and you really rely on that a lot. So let's see what else comes out here for you. All right. Very, very interesting energy already with the dice. I'm going to be using the Tarot Marseille today. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? How would a tarot reader describe you to them? Okay, thank you. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? Yeah, you've had a lot of broken heart in your life. Like, you've had a lot of very difficult relationships, one-sided relationships, a lack of people taking accountability for their own actions. Like, I feel like that's where that drama comes from. It's like people blame you because they don't want to take accountability for their own, the role that they played in the dynamic here. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? How would a tarot reader describe you to them, pile 1? Yeah, the dynamic here is interesting. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? Okay, thank you. Bottom of the deck, we have The World card. I love that energy for you. Yeah, I feel like before we see what this card is, it's just there's this energy that's coming in where you've had to deal with a lot of strife, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, and you've overcome so much. There's been so much that you've gone through. There's been times when you felt completely isolated, and there's been times when you felt completely disconnected from the world around you. And that fear was ever growing. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if some of you have been diagnosed with CPTSD, PTSD, NPD, or not NPD, BPD, or also severe depression. Like chronic depression is coming through here, okay? So these are some of the diagnoses that are coming in here. You may have also been misdiagnosed with something and only found out what it was later on and hadn't had an opportunity to really find tools that helped you face that part of yourself. And the thing is I feel like you're incredibly sensitive, and you are somebody who, through the difficulties of your childhood, you created a defense mechanism where you're able to read the room every time you go in, right? Being empathic is actually a defense mechanism. It's a beautiful tool when we learn how to use it and we learn how to work with it instead of using it as just a protective shield for us, but when we learn to integrate it fully into our journeys. But from when we're a child and we become empathic, it's actually a shield defense for us to read the room when we walk in and ascertain if there's anybody that's dangerous for us there, or if there's anybody that's going to cause a lot of problems for us, and then we can steer clear of those situations. And that's something that I feel like your empathy is like hyper sensitive, and it's been really hard for you to find balance with your empathy because of how hypersensitive it is, but you are learning how to work with it. You're learning how to overcome just that telling you not to integrate with people, or not to deal with people, not to talk to people, not to work with people. And you're learning how to manage your fears and your anxieties in a new and powerful way. So whether that's through meditation, through journaling, through past life regression, through hypnosis is coming in here. So there could be a lot of different tools that you might be working with right now that's helping you overcome the fears and anxieties that you've gone through as a child, and also that's helping you let go of the whys. Like, why are people talking about me? Why are people lying to me? Why are people trying to hurt me? Why do they continue to do this? Because you're able to see that before it actually comes to light. You are able to read that in the energetic blueprint of the room when you enter into a room, or when you're connecting with a certain person. You feel when people are gossiping about you. You feel when people are lying to your face. And that could have been followed with a why. Like, I didn't do anything to these people. I'm a nice person. I'm a kind person. I'm a generous person. I'm a loving person. I'm a caring person. But why? Why do I have to go through all of this? And I feel like the main thing here is realizing that the why doesn't truly matter. And I feel like that was something that was really hard for you to let go. And to also own, since you chose the sacral chakra gemstone here, pile one, to own that how you feel is valid, right? Like, it's frustrating that they did this to me, or it's frustrating that they are doing this to me. It's frustrating that they're treating me this way. Like, recognizing that whatever energy is coming through that, when you're getting an intuitive nudge, or when you're getting that empathic knowledge, the wisdom that comes from that, recognizing that how you feel is very valid, and there doesn't need to be a why to it, because no why, no answer to why is ever going to be enough. And I feel like that's why it was so hard. Just give me a reason why. But if they said, well, that's just how I was raised, then for you, you're going to be like, well, I was raised in a really harsh situation and I didn't go through that, and I don't treat people like that. We're always going to compare to our lens of the world. And that's why letting go of the why might have been a huge challenge for you on your journey. Let's see what this is. Yeah, there's a lot of injustice that has followed you throughout your life. And there's been a lot of very difficult circumstances that you've had to overcome. And again, it's like this interesting energy, right? I was saying, like, we can't we can always ask why, we can always ask for an explanation or reason, but the reason, no matter what they give, is never going to be good enough. Justice in reverse is that exact energy of what I was feeling. It's like, because we're always going to view it through our lens, our perspective. Well, I went through something like that too, and I still don't treat people like that. So why are you, right? It's just going to elicit another why. And so for you, the letting go of trying to squeeze people into your perspective, from your perspective, and recognize that people are going to show up however they're going to show up, right? The curious mind that has come with that has allowed you to expand in a very beautiful way, and it's allowed you to blossom into a spiritual being that otherwise would have been inhibited on your journey. With the World card, it's interesting because the World is ruled by Saturn, which is such an interesting energy. Like, why isn't the World, you know, ruled by Earth? Like, why isn't the World card ruled by a different type of energy? But it's actually ruled by Saturn in the tarot. And it's fitting because it's like that tough love that we have to go through in order to close out those the hard knocks life. That's what I'm hearing. It's a hard knocks life for us. It's a hard knocks life for us. Na, 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 na. I don't know all the words, but anyways, yeah. So then I feel like that's exactly what it's been for you. It's been a hard knocks life, and you've had to learn how to leave this, to surrender this in the past, and to recognize your own internal power here with Prudence walking through the gates, the wreath of wisdom, the wreath of experience, the wreath of spiritual growth, right? Prudence expands their knowledge. You could say hers, you could say his, but it's their knowledge. They expand their knowledge by continuing the next step of the journey, which goes back again to the magician, right? So now what do we want to manifest after we've surrendered and closed out this very harsh chapter in our lives? And I do feel like you've been judged unfairly throughout your life, and I feel like you've been put in a lot of situations where you're between a rock and a hard place, and learning how to navigate that has been challenging. But that's also another reason as to why you adapt to situations so well now. And that's another reason why you are someone who demands authenticity from others. It's not necessarily walking up to someone and say, hey, I demand that you be authentic with me. It has to do with the energy that they're exhibiting. You immediately know when people aren't trying to be authentic or when they're trying to hide themselves from you. Also, Pile 1, if you feel called to, you might very well resonate with the collective message that I did at the beginning of the reading, which you will find timestamp in the description box if you feel called to it, because this does feel like that energy coming in. Let's get some more out on it here and find out. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? Yeah, Chiron coming out here with hurt and heal. The wounded warrior. Like, you've been through a lot. I feel like if people recognized how much you'd been through, right? If you just sat down and said, oh, I did this, I went through this, I overcame this. Hold on, let me turn down the frequencies now that the air turned off, because otherwise the frequencies will overpower the video. Okay, so yeah, if you sat down and explained that to people, like, well, I went through this, I went through that, I had to overcome this, I had to overcome that. Like, if you put down a timeline for everything, how things were back to back, and sometimes things were overlapping, I feel like most people would be like, how did you not give up? Like, how did you keep going? And the truth is that you didn't have a choice. Like, you had to keep going. You could have Chiron in the 8th house. You could have Chiron in Gemini or in Sagittarius or Libra as well. You could also have Chiron in the 3rd house. It's coming through really powerfully. But this is that energy where it's like you've learned now how to step beyond the hurt, the pain, the hardships that you've been through, and to empower yourself so that you can stand strong and use that experience and that wisdom that you've garnered from your life in order to navigate the life around you. You're no longer taking it on as a personal, like a personal plight or a personal injury, or very right close to heart is what they're showing me here. Something close to heart. You recognize that you are the one that controls what's close to heart and what's not. And so you have separated yourself from carrying the burdens of the outside world. On the bottom, yeah, fourth house here. Wow, family, the home that you were raised in, cultural and family roots, home, peace, and comfort. So your Chiron had to do with where you were raised at. And I feel like you experienced certain types of misfortune and abuses coming through here and overwhelm. This could have been situations where you were in very unstable homes, like maybe you moved really frequently and there was a lack of stability, or there was a huge codependent issue in your life, or you had to deal with narcissists growing up and had no identity separate from your family. And that's something that you've learned how to overcome and to heal from. And that's something that makes you incredibly powerful today, but it's also something that's helped you to connect, or reconnect, I should say, with your inner child. So how would a tarot reader describe you to them, pile one? Thank you. So we have the moon in Leo with appreciation. You're very grateful. You may also play music, or that's how you express yourself, is through song, through music, through, you know, maybe you listen to a certain type of music that's very unique, or underground music is coming through here. But I do also feel like you're somebody who's very grateful for life. Like even the hard things that you've gone through, you just look back and you're like, you know, I'm grateful that I overcame them. I'm grateful that I was able to gain the wisdom from them. I'm grateful that they made me who I am today. Like that takes a huge amount of strength and courage to look at our past and be grateful for our past, no matter what was there. And that also comes with forgiveness as well. And I feel like the other thing here is that there's a very ancient feel about you. You're an old soul on this journey, and you have incarnated here many times before if you believe in reincarnation. But I also feel like maybe you are a starseed or an earth angel, and so you've lived in different situations where, right, like the why, that's something that's really hard. Like you could be Lemurian, Pleiadian, Arcturian, Orion. I don't know them all, but there's a ton of them. Anyways, you could identify with some of these. But I feel like you had incarnated before in a world that was filled with love, where everybody supported everyone else. And when you incarnated here, you were put into a situation where no one supported each other, and instead there was maybe I'm going to say this, an alpha in your life, like somebody who demanded that they get respect even though they didn't respect anybody. They demanded honesty even though they lied to everybody. Like this type of energy. And that's part of where your internal wisdom came from, because you had actually experienced a life where you were supported, loved, and held. Or that's coming from your spiritual connection, where you recognize being loved, held, supported by the divine. And you're like, this is not how it's supposed to be. Like, you're not better than me, and I'm not better than you. Like, we're on even ground here. And even if they had a title or whatever, say it was like a father or a mother in your life, or somebody that had some sort of huge title in your life, even like with you getting the coworker card, this could be a boss or something like that. You recognize, like, that doesn't make you better than anybody. Like, it doesn't, just because you have status doesn't make you better than anybody, and that doesn't make me worse than anybody. You're just given a label, and that's all it is. Like, you see it as the label that it is, and not as, oh, they deserve this, they deserve that, they deserve this, right? Like, you see it like respect is earned, you know, and that's something that makes you very powerful in your discernment as well. On the bottom, yeah, the moon in Pisces with empathy. Yeah, you're incredibly empathic. This is that confirmation to that energy. You're like a very loyal person, and you can hear messages from the divine. You maybe have clairaudience, especially for those of you that have clairaudience. This is coming through, but you might also be able to communicate with animals, have the gift of psychically knowing animals, what they're saying, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and you're able to take care of animals. It doesn't matter. It could be spiders, it could be dogs, it could be elephants, it could be whatever, but you're able to really tap in intuitively and know exactly what animals are feeling and help them and care for them and love them. and they appreciate that. I feel like when animals are with you, they feel like you give them a voice, the voice that they need to be heard and understood. That's really cute. I love that. Okay, so this popped out. We have 15 here with distorted desire. Conscious desire rarely satisfies the unconscious need driving it. I just feel like this is the thing, like if we were saying with the why, there was a part of you that wanted the why. I need the why in order to move on. I need the why in order to let go. But as you continued your journey, there were less and less times where that why became clear, that why even ever happened. And there was something that shifted for you where you realized like a why is not going to give me closure. I have to give myself closure, right? Or maybe you did get some whys, like people were saying, well, I did that because of this, or I did that because of this. And the because, whatever it was, sounded more like an excuse to you than a valid answer. And you realize that's how they're all going to sound. So the distorted desire was that if I get closure to the situation, then I could move on. And the soul came in and helped you understand that no, closure is you giving that to yourself. And that's what's helped you also rely on your intuition. Yeah, the weeping wound. This card fell out twice when I was setting up my cards. It fell out twice, even before I started your reading, before I started this whole reading altogether. This card fell out twice. So the fact that it's coming out on your reading, that's a really powerful energy. It says you are not your wounds. Yeah, you've been through it, right? Like I guess this could be a man, it could be a woman. But they're crying tears of blood here. Like the pain, the sorrow, the hurt, the heartbreak that they've been through. It's been immense, right? And at some point you identified with your wounds, especially with Chiron here. I'm going to leave this out because I feel like it needs to be out. And you're no longer identifying with those wounds. You're no longer identifying with the hurt and the pain that you've experienced on your journey, but rather you're letting yourself experience it as it comes and letting it go. And I feel like not a lot of people, like whoever's getting the reading on you, like they're not going to see this for the value that it is. That's something that's really important for me to tell you because it's like something I feel in my gut. And I feel it, I'm like, my third eye is like ringing right now. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like ringing. And it's like, they're not going to appreciate the depth of everything that you've had to overcome. And they're like, this is something that if they got a reading on you, they're just going to shake off. They're going to be like, oh, so this could have been someone that hurt you as well. This could be a coworker who's getting a reading done on you, or this could be a boss that's getting a reading done on you as well. And they're not gonna, like, maybe they wanted some other type of information, but now that they got this, they've realized like, oh, okay, like, well, obviously if they were trying to manipulate you or trying to gain one over on you or trying to get a position above you or something like that, like they know they're not going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to see that. Yeah, didn't I say, oh no, I said that in the collective reading. A 12th house stellium came through for the collective energy, but stellium, we have stop obsessing. Yeah, so this goes back as confirmation to the why. I keep getting that as the why. That was an obsession with you. And though it doesn't have to just be a why, it could be anything. But it very strongly feels like a why here is that you've had to learn how to stop obsessing about the why. Why didn't this work out? Why did this happen? Why did they do this? Why did they say that? Why did they treat me like this? Like, you had to just let that go and step back and become the observer and just observe people's actions, observe where they were coming from, observe how they were treating you, observe what they were doing, and not take it as, again, that personal. Like, this is not personal how they're showing up, you know, even though it hurts and even though it cuts the wounds, right? What is that? I'm hearing that Papa Roach song. Suffocation, no breathing, don't give up if I got them all bleeding. This is my last resort. I don't know the name of that song. Cut myself open. Yeah, it's like every time, whatever it was that you were really obsessed with, right? It's like you were cutting yourself open time and time again. And it wasn't the people or the situations and the circumstances that were necessarily wounding you. It was the thoughts around that. And it's not that those situations didn't hurt. They did. But the deeper the cut became, it was because of the thoughts that you held around those situations, or like the obsessive playing it over and over again, or continuing to relive it, right? Sometimes we relive our tragedies over and over again, and we think about like, well, if they had just done this, or if I had just said this, and we can't go back and change the past. And so that's something that you've had to let go of here. Yeah, judgment. I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. And I said that too earlier, where when justice came out, is like that you've been judged very harshly in your past. I do feel like you're still judged very harshly. Like, people don't take the time to get to know you very often, if at all. Right now, maybe you feel very lonely on your journey because you haven't really had people who cared enough to just ask some questions about you. Like, what's your favorite thing to do? What do you do when you feel overwhelmed? Like, who are you when no one's looking? You know, these personal things that open up the door to friendship. And I do feel like Source is reminding you that that is something that's coming, pile one. So not being afraid of that anymore. Let's get one of these out here. Thank you, Source. These are the past life energy cards. Yeah, warrior, right? The wounded warrior. You're coming into that wounded. It's no longer the wounded healer. Like, you've stepped beyond the wounded healer. Now you're the wounded warrior. You're fighting for what you believe in. You're fighting for your right to be seen, your right to be heard, but not by everyone else, but by yourself, right? Courage and taking on challenges. Like, you never had an option to give up. Like, that's the thing. It's like, people are like, well, how did you not just throw in the towel? You never had that option. Like, your soul never let you. Right? Your soul is always like, we got to keep going. We got to keep fighting. We got to keep putting in the effort, no matter how much it hurt. All right. Bottom of the deck. Yeah. Now you're finding a place of peace. Come into this very powerful energy. All right. So we've got Mercury in Aquarius with originality. Yeah, you're very different from many people. That's what I was saying like earlier. It's like you're seeing everybody from the outside looking in. You see things and your mind works in a very different way. The things you observe, it's like you're not seeing it the way that most people would. Like, you're seeing the lack of love. You're seeing the lack of accountability. And most people are just seeing it at face value. But you're seeing so much deeper. Right? Fire. Do it with passion. Yeah, you could very well resonate with the collective message at the beginning. But there's something here that you found a passion about. And you definitely pour into that. Health. I will honor the physical vessel that enshrines my soul. You may have struggled with health issues your whole life, especially with a wounded heart. Like, you could have respiratory issues, asthma. We were talking about mental health earlier as well, and that definitely goes hand in hand. If you have a closed off heart, you can definitely have a closed off third eye. And mental health is connected to the third eye chakra. And so learning to trust your intuition has helped you to find resources and tools to deal with, like, if you have any type of mental health issues, or if you have any type of respiratory issues, like, you're finding tools to help you heal and overcome that, especially respiratory issues coming through here with these two cards. Okay, addictions. We have reactive behaviors and reclaiming your power. And that's what we've been talking about this whole time, is that self-empowerment coming through. Isn't it interesting? We got number 7 and the number 8 card, Warrior, came out on the bottom of the deck. Ooh, and then under that we have number 44 with energetic realm, life between lives. Yeah, and this feels like what I was saying, like, you could be an earth angel. It's like wherever you were in your past life before, you were very connected with the divine and held, supported, loved, and didn't have to go through the hardships that you're experiencing in this lifetime now. And it's not that they're punishment. It's just that we volunteer as souls. We volunteer to come here and learn what we can about this physical world. And of course, when we're souls, we're so excited. We're like, yeah, let's do it. But then when we're human, we're like, what was I thinking? Right? Because that's the emotional ego coming in. And I feel like that's definitely something that you've overcome through this journey, is the emotional ego might have sent you down the path of addictions, but you've learned how to reclaim your power. And disruption, yeah, something here disrupted your life. It disrupted your journey. And through that, you've centered yourself on the journey to higher vibration, to higher love, to self-awareness. So let's take a look at these cards. We're going to look at this one first and read this one from the book. So how would they describe you to others? You're helpful, friendly, and optimistic, but sometimes you can be impulsive, frustrated, and bedraggled. Your interactive style is transparent, direct, and responsive. So this is something that came up in the reading as well. And then let's take a look at this and read this from the book. Light your fire. We have fire. Do it with passion. So there's something that you're definitely working towards now. In fact, healing could be something that you're incredibly passionate about, pile one. Or just your spiritual journey. That could be something that you're incredibly passionate about because that's where you found the most freedom at. And that's something that really just helps you stay connected to yourself and to, you know, your resources and your tools for moving ahead. So we have Pele here with channel your creative and emotional passion, get energized. Pele is the passionate goddess of the volcanoes and fire who created the Hawaiian Islands. Said to dwell in the crater of the Kilauea volcano, Pele's molten lava both creates and destroys. Legend says that Pele journeyed from Tahiti to Hawaii in a canoe and was killed in a tempestuous clash with her sister, Tahitian goddess, sea goddess. Pele's spirit lived on in the volcano, shape-shifting and reappearing to the Hawaiian people at will. Powerful yet capricious, she can succumb to outbursts of jealousy that create volcanic eruptions. Pele shows us how to work creatively with intense volatile energies and harness our inner fire. And that's what I'm saying, like the why that's coming through. Like it caused a lot of anger, it caused a lot of hurt. It was just like that comparison. But now you're learning how to harness it in a more constructive and conducive way. Pele explodes into your world today with volcanic force, searing heat. So be prepared to be shaken. You may have been doing a good job at keeping a lid on your emotions and passions, but something might be about to erupt. As long as you channel them positively, you can boldly let your fiery feelings and creative juices flow. If you've been feeling lackluster recently, Pele is here to light a fire in your belly, imagining this flaming goddess standing in front of you, warming up your solar plexus. You might also, I haven't gotten there yet, but you might also resonate with pile 2 because theirs is the solar plexus chakra gemstone. She sends energizing sparks throughout your entire body. If you're feeling jealous, try Pele's healing remedy. Consider the person you're jealous of as symbolizing an aspect of your own inner power that you haven't yet claimed. Reframe this person as an inspiration rather than a threat. If they can do it or have it, so can you. Pele invites you to turn up the heat in your life, be an ardent lover, an enthusiastic contributor, a fervent force of dynamic creativity. Don't withhold your passion, live with your soul on fire. Express and explore your sexuality in safe ways. Channel your anger creatively to create positive change through writing, art, physical movement, campaigning, public speaking, and so forth. Respectfully visit and support Hawaii's sacral cultural sites. The invocation here is I express intense energy in positive ways. I embrace the fire within. And I also feel like that's just confirmation to that hurt and that pain. Like you've learned how to heal from that. You've learned how to overcome that and to channel that in new, powerful ways. Those tools and those resources are definitely helping you to heal from a very tumultuous path that you've had to come through. So I'm really proud of you, Pile 1. And I just want you to know that you are truly an inspiration. And even though it's been rough, you are here to help change the vibration in the world, to help us find our inner strength. And what a way shower you are to take that on and to shoulder that kind of journey. So please be proud of yourself and remember to celebrate who you are because you do matter. Okay, so this is what I see for you here today. If you felt like this was your reading, leave the little, is there a volcano emoji? If there's not a volcano emoji, leave the fire emoji down below and say, through burning away the old, outdated, toxic belief patterns and energies, I am able to help others become inspired and fueled by their own internal passion and light. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. So with that, I would like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this incredibly powerful message today. You are an amazing person, pile number one. Thank you for letting me connect with you today. And until next time, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this card with the Libra parent on it, perhaps you felt called to this dice with Leo on it. Or maybe you felt called to this solar plexus. We're going to get there. The solar plexus chakra with the seed sound Ram on it. And this is yellow jasper. Or perhaps you felt called to this card during the shuffle. This is going to be your reading on how would a tarot reader describe you to them. We're all here sharing this human experience together. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining us. I do things differently here on this channel, so there might be triggering statements that do arise on the readings themselves, and there's no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers can be a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. If the message resonates, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm deeply honored to be here sharing it with you today. I did get a channel message for you, pile 2, and that was that they're telling whoever this person is, and this could be family, it could be friends, it could be a potential love interest, an ex-lover, it could be anybody, right? And so just letting your intuition help guide you to who it might be who's gotten this reading. But one of the things that came through is that they're saying that you've recently gone through some sort of transformation in regards to your relationship in your life. And it does feel romantic, but it could be a friendship. It could be a business partnership. I do feel like there's been an ending that's happened, or some sort of separation, or some sort of surrendering. Like, I finally just let go of the outcome of this connection, and I am okay with whatever happens, whether it manifests in my life or whether it does not. But I do feel like energetically this was a huge shift for you, and it is something that's coming up even before we start the reading. So this is something that's come up in their reading as well. But let's dig in and find out a little bit more. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? How would a tarot reader describe you to them? Source, what would you like to share for pile 2? I feel like I'm going to have to change my candle soon. It was weird too. Before I came on here, like, I have frequencies playing. But the frequencies just, like, they just totally shut off. Like, everything shut off. And I was like, I don't even know. Are we in Mercury retrograde right now? I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with it since I've been sick. We could be going into Mercury retrograde soon. But anyways, yeah, it was just weird because everything shut off. And I was like, oh, that was unique. I didn't touch it or anything, and it just, everything shut off. And so I do feel like there's definitely something that's shifting in your energy where, like, whatever was distracting you before, whatever was taking up time, space, noise in your life, like, you're shutting it down. Right? And I feel like that's energetically being guided by source as well, that there's some sort of shut down here, shut out maybe, where, again, if this is like a labeled relationship, or if this is like a working relationship or a romantic relationship that just wasn't on the same level as you, you're now moving on from it, and you're letting go of whatever the outcome was with this connection, whether it was somebody you really wanted in your life or not. Like, at this point, you're not holding on to that any longer. You're saying, like, okay, what happens, happens, but I can't keep putting myself on hold because of said person. And you're moving on from that. Yes. Wow. So we have the 5th house, we have Aquarius energy here, and we have the sun. Yeah. So this thing, like, I feel like this could be someone that you dated. Again, a romantic interest here. That's what this really feels like. Somebody you're romantically interested in. And you approach them from a very authentic and true version of yourself. And you were very expressive, but I feel like it's not that, like, it's interesting because I feel like this person, it's not that they weren't receptive of you. It's just that they were very blasé about you. Like, they didn't, they were very cold and disconnected, right? It's not like they were cruel to you or anything like that. It's just that you realize, like, this is not the type of energy that I want in my life. So this is somebody that ghosted you. You were finally saying, like, okay, like, that's enough. That's closure for me. You ghosted me. You didn't want to say anything else. And so this is closure for me now. I'm choosing to move on. This could have been someone that maybe you thought you could grow to like or love after a time, but then the more that you kept showing your authentic self and the less that they interacted with you, or they kind of like started to drag things on, and you're like, okay, I'm done with this. Like, I don't want to keep dragging this on. I don't want to keep this going. But whatever it is, okay, so like whatever happened here, there was an ending of some sort, and there was a refocusing back on self, a refocusing back on your expression, on your self-love, on your self-respect. But I do feel like you're the one that ended it. Like, you're, and there might not have even been anything that was said. This is an energetic severing is what this feels like. Like, especially with, because I have my frequencies playing on my surround sound with the TV, right? And both of them shut off at the same time, which is weird because usually when I shut the TV off, it takes a few minutes for the, even though the surround sound's plugged directly into the TV, it takes a few minutes for it to recognize, like, oh, okay, the TV's turned off, so now I should turn off too. No, they like both went dead at the same time, just shut off right before I started your reading. So I had to turn them back on. And nothing else went out. Like, everything else in the house is on. The microwave's still on. The back AC is still on. And so, like, nothing else went out. It was just really interesting because the TV and the surround sound, they both turned off. And I feel like that's what this is saying, is this person, whoever this is that you disconnected from, they were, like, I hear the song, replay it over and over again, right? Like, cause it's all in my head. I think about it over and over again. I replay it over and over again. And that's the thing, I feel like, and it hurts so much, right? Like, it just, everything that you were replaying over and over again, it's just like, it hurt too much, or it was something that you didn't want to have in your life. And you realize that this is something that I'm willing to walk away from. And it's not serving me. It's not keeping me in a place of peace. It's making me feel confused or confounded. And, you know, I can choose what's important to me, and you did. And what was important to you was choosing your peace over chaos. And so this is like an energetic severing that happened. For some of you, this could have been a physical severing that happened as well, where you were just like, you know what? I appreciate you, appreciate the time that we had, but I realize this just isn't working out for me, and I need to move on. And I do feel like you're not somebody who's going to ghost people. Like, you're going to tell people whether or not they're working for you or they're not, right? Like, if they're working for you, there's no need to discuss it. But if they're not, I do feel like you're somebody who's come to this place where you're like, I don't like to be ghosted, so I'm actually going to take action and tell somebody that I don't want them in my life. And that takes, I just hope you know, for those of you that resonates with, that takes so much courage. You know, we're in a day and age where everybody ghosts because nobody wants to take accountability for potentially rejecting another person. But you know what? Rejection's a part of life. It's like when we ghost people, we hurt them. And I feel like many of you have been ghosted by a lot of people, you know, especially if you've tried online dating, which is so weird. Even though that's the way things work now, it's just weird because it's like, that's just what happens. It's like people talk to you and then suddenly they just, all of a sudden they unmatch you, or they just disappear, and you're like, what the heck? Like, you couldn't just tell me, like, oh, this isn't for me, like, good luck on your journey, right? Like, and I feel like that's something that you've experienced a lot of, and you're just like, nope, I'm not going to do that to another person. And this could be someone that was maybe ghosted by you in the past, or this is someone who received that severing from you and they're like, what the heck? Like, why did they do this? But let's find out some more here. It does feel relationship related, especially because we got the 5th house in the beginning and I was getting that message. So how would a tarot reader describe you to them? Pile 2. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? No. Okay, how would a tarot reader describe you to them, pile 2? How would a tarot reader describe... Yep, romantic frustration. Okay, yeah. Right now, you're just... Many of you, you could have a relationship, and this could be dealing with friendship or building a partnership with someone or something like that. It doesn't have to be romantic, but it does feel romantic. Especially with the 5th house and the 4 of Wands in the reverse here. It does feel romantic. But I feel like the thing is that energetically, you're not in a place to build a relationship right now. You're more focused on yourself, and you're focused on building yourself up and taking care of yourself and creating financial wealth and creating spiritual wealth and creating mental wealth and health in your life. And that's your main focus right now. It's the thing is that what really irks you is how conceited people are when it comes to playing with people's hearts, and you're just not around for it. And so you don't play with people's hearts. You're very clear about what you want. You're very clear about how things are working or if they're not working for you. Like, even in a situation where it might be okay to ghost, like, I feel like you still don't. Like, you speak your piece and then you move on. So you might be the person that says, like, hey, this really isn't working for me. I have to go and see what other options are for me, and I wish you the best of luck in your life too. And then you may leave that message there until you know it's been read, and then you block them or then you delete them or whatever it is. It's like, even if somebody comes back and says, well, why? Explain this to me. Like, that's it. You've said your piece. You've moved on. There is no why. I don't need to explain my piece any further. Like, I said what I needed to say. It closed this out. If you don't want to accept it, that's on you. That's not on me, because I didn't ghost you. That's something I don't do. But I feel like that's the thing. It's like, people are like in this conceited energy right now where it's like, oh, I have the right to mess with people's hearts however I want. And I do feel like you're tired of it, pile 2. I feel like you're in this energy of like, I'm really done with that. And I'm really done with people thinking that it's okay to maybe be a player or have multiple people in their inbox or dating multiple people while they're saying that we're trying to have a monogamous relationship with one person. Or, you know, they're not being honest with themselves, and in turn not being honest with you. And I do feel like you're just exhausted from it. You're just overwhelmed by it. It's like, I would much rather draw away from that energy and focus fully on myself right now. And that's what I feel like you're at energetically. Yeah, you've had a lot of hardships when it comes to relationships. So this could be someone who's romantically interested in you, getting a reading on you. And they're getting the lowdown. They're getting the fact that you're just not really interested in it like that right now. Like, you could have just sworn off relationships for a while. You're just like, no, you know, I don't want to go there. I know that it'll happen when it happens, but right now it's just a big fat no for me. I'm not interested in it. And there's been a lot of misfortune here. There's been a lot of broken heart energy that's come through. I feel like you're always the one that gets left behind in a lot of situations, and you've learned some very profound discernment when it comes to whether a person is for you or not, and you feel that right away. So like, if you're doing online dating, this would be the example that they're showing me. If you're doing online dating, right, and you're talking, because it's all a numbers game on online, so you might be talking to multiple people, and maybe you set up a date with 3 different people, right? And you actually go on a date with one person because the other 2 people maybe didn't work out, or maybe you realize like, oh, talking to them online, I feel like they're just not really for me. And so you may have cut it off. They may have cut it off. They may have just totally bunked out or whatever it is. And you go on this date with this person, and energetically by the end of the date, you're like, no, this isn't the person for me. And you will tell them on the spot, like, hey, you know, I had fun. Thanks for taking me out, but I just don't think this is going to go any further than that, right? Like, but it's like, you're getting stuck in a lot of situations where people, maybe you get stuck with a lot of married men or married women or married people, right? Or people are looking for a unicorn and they want you to be the unicorn. And if you don't know what that means, then that is not a message for you. Okay, that is a very specific message that only a few people are going to get. But I feel like that's the thing. It's like they want you, or they want you to be in a polyamorous situation and you want to be in a monogamous situation, right? Like, so whatever the situation is, and I don't feel like you're judgmental of these people at all. I just feel like you're tired of getting matched up with people who don't have similar values to you, or similar wants and desires to you. It's like everybody's looking for multiple partners and wanting their partners to be okay with them having multiple partners. And you're just looking for that person that's like, this is my person and I want them to be my person. And why is that such a big deal? Why is that such a problem in this day and age to ask for? And I feel like you have some really old love values, right? Like you feel like you were born in the wrong decade. And I also feel like at the same time though, you've looked back and you're like, well, but if I was born in earlier decades, like it would have even been tough then too. And so you've definitely been taking a look at your love situation. I do also feel like you've had a heartbreak with a friend. There was someone that you were really close to that was a friend that maybe you had a crush on, or maybe you didn't. Maybe they were just a friend, but they had a crush on you. So this could have been either you or them. And I feel like whoever it was that like the other person spoke that out, was like, hey, you know, like I'm in love with you, and it created a rift between the two of you. And like if it was you, there's a lot of regret about speaking how you felt about them. And it's just like, it was like, was it really worth saying that I love them when now I don't have them in my life as a friend? Or the vice versa, like if this is that person that's getting a reading on you, the same thing, like was it worth me telling pile 2 that I love them when now I don't have them in my life as a friend any longer? Yeah, but there's a shift here. So whatever this energy was, or whoever this energy happens to be connected to, there's a shift here where there's a death, right? This is a transformation and a rebirth that's happening for you. And from that, you're going to learn how to let go of being so connected to people who aren't for you. So this is a shift that's happening right now. There's definitely a huge transformation. And again, I feel like that transformation is coming in realizing like, I don't want people in my life right now. I don't want a romantic relationship in my life right now. I don't want to try to build a family right now. I don't want this, even though it's something that you maybe have wanted before. Like you're more focused on taking care of and building yourself up than anything else. And that hasn't been easy for you. Yeah, the sun flipping over here, self-express and embody your truth. So you're learning how to express yourself without having somebody in your life. So you could have been a perpetual dater, or always in a perpetual relationship, like where you went from relationship to relationship to relationship. And again, you know, like whatever your situation is, there's no judgment. That's like just you were choosing what you felt was best for you at the time, whatever that was. And now you're like, well, who am I when I'm not pining for someone, when I'm just taking care of me? Like, what does that mean? And that's why you're in this place of self-express. Yeah, opposition, imbalance, a point of tension, and a power struggle. Like, this is how you feel when it comes to relationships. There's always some sort of power struggle. Like, someone's trying to be on top. Someone's trying to win. Like, why can't we be in this together? Why can't we come together in a straight union? Like, why does there have to be a dynamic, like someone controlling the other person, someone trying to win the other person, someone trying to be over the other person? Like, we don't need to go down that road. We're in this together, and we either make it work or we don't. And for you, it's just, I've been through so much that I'm just right now want to see what it means for me to stand up and be there for myself in the way that I need. Yeah, so we have Sun in Pisces coming out here. Vision. Yeah, the sun is very important for you right now. This is about self-expressing yourself and really embodying your own internal power. And what does that mean to you right now? Taking leadership for your life. Okay, I guess this card wants to come out. Just totally just fell out of the deck. And that's something that is happening for you. You could have your sun in Pisces. You could have your moon in Pisces. You could also have a lot of first house placements in Pisces. On the bottom, we have Saturn in Virgo with isolation. Yeah, look at this. Like, I don't want love, right? Like, you see this lover here reaching for him. And he's like, nope, I don't want this. I don't want this. Like, somebody thinking that there's an opportunity for something to grow here, and the other one feeling completely trapped by it. Almost like as if a relationship feels like it's chaining me down. Or maybe you tried online dating recently and you're like, yeah, I want to try to get with somebody. I want to try that part of my life again. But when you started to build a connection with someone, you realize, like, now I have to tell somebody where I'm going. I have to tell somebody what I'm doing. And I like not having to do that, right? Radical honesty coming out for you here. To believe in the facade is to suffocate in the armor of alienation, self-defeat, and self-denial. Yeah, being completely honest with yourself. And I feel like this is something that's been really challenging for you because it's letting go of societal beliefs, you know, especially for those of you that might have family who are pressuring you to be involved with somebody, or pressuring you to get married, pressuring you to just have a relationship. And if you're telling them, like, that's something I don't want right now, and they're like, well, why? Why? That makes you weird. It's not. You're not weird. You're not weird. You're just realizing that there's something else out there for you that you want to explore right now. And if you never get into a relationship, there's still nothing weird with you, right? People have relied on marriage as the norm for so long that those of us that don't get married, or those of us that choose a different type of connection in this world, it's like we're the oddballs out. But why? Like, why does that make you the oddball out? It doesn't, right? Not at all. It's just you're choosing to express love from a different angle, and that's perfectly okay. On the bottom, we have responding, not reacting. Yeah, the only control we have is in how we respond to the hand we are dealt. And that's the thing, like right now, you're learning how to heal from all those broken hearts. You're learning how to overcome from those difficult situations that you've been in. I feel like that's the other thing, is like you've been lied to a lot by a lot of people, and you're overcoming that. We've got Saturn flying out here with time for tough love. Like, that's the thing. Again, love. It's interesting, right? Even in this deck, the Saturn card, it doesn't talk about tough love. It does in the book, but not on the card itself. So again, for this card to come out from this deck, this has to do with how you are approaching love right now, and you're seeing it as a means to put on the back burner. Like, love is not your main focus right now. And so this could be a potential partner who's getting a reading on you. Like, well, is pile number 2 ready for me to come in? Are they ready for me to make an offer? And they're basically getting a big fat no. No, they're not. Like, they're gonna reject you if you go in with an offer right now. They're going to say, I don't want that. They're going to say, like, I want to build up my life first, you know, maybe later, come back later. Access denied. Right? Look at this, 7th house. I can't make this up. Make a commitment. Like, that's the thing. You are, though. You're making a commitment to yourself and your journey. That's what's most important to you right now, is your journey and healing yourself. And it's not because you haven't tried. I do feel like you have tried, but it's just the amount of people that you've connected with that have shown you, like, this is not what I want. That's why you're drawing back, and that's okay. It's like reevaluating where you're at, and it's regrouping, right? Finding that sense of stability once again. Surrender. I can release my need to control. Yeah, coming into a state of surrender. And we did say that at the beginning. This feels like it could be surrendering the idea to a certain outcome of a certain connection. So this could be a labeled connection in your life, and you're just finally surrendering to it. You're just like, look, I would much rather focus on myself than to focus on this outcome of this connection, because it's just too much. It's too overwhelming for me. And please just know that's okay. You know, there's so many spiritual communities out there that are saying, like, no, you have to suffer for these labeled relationships. You have to go through the hardships. You have to, look, we don't have to do anything. The beautiful thing about being a human is that each and every one of us, even those of us that are spiritually connected, each and every one of us has free will. And we become empowered by choosing our own path, our own direction, and choosing for ourselves, which means that those of us that we feel energetically connected to, they're not influenced by how we show up on the path. They're influenced by their own free will. And that's really hard sometimes for people to accept, especially when it comes to the labeled connection. And I say labeled connection here because when we focus on the label itself, we're focusing on the ideas that we've placed into it rather than seeing it for what it is. It's a hope and a prayer, right? We're hoping and we're praying that this is going to work out for how we want it to. but we're praying for it to work out for our highest good. What if our highest good from the divine standpoint is that this connection doesn't work out? And that's why it's so hard for some people, because it's like, oh, like, but the divine promised that we were going to get together. Look, at the end of the day, only a fool thinks they know everything. And I'm not here to say that, yes, this person is coming into your life. No, this person isn't coming into your life. I'm here to remind you that at the end of the day, everybody has free will, including labeled connections in our lives. And they're going to act according to what they want to choose in any one given moment. So at the end of the day, we just have to trust that Source knows what's best for us. And if it's the person we think that it is, great. If it's not, great. We have to be okay with that. We have to be completely honest with ourselves and surrender to the process, right? Yeah, friendship. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. So this is saying, like, this was a friendship that you had in your life. Like, someone you at some point had some kind of connection with, and there was something painful that ended here between you and them, and you were just like, maybe it was just one time too many, right? Like, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, I can't do this anymore. I can't go down this road anymore. I have to focus on myself. Or again, if this person ghosted you, like, maybe you've been ghosted by this person for years and years and years, and that's never anything that they've ever done, and it's not anything that you ever did with them. And, you know, like, maybe you guys at least tried to reach out once a year to each other, like for the holidays or for your birthdays or something like that. And say 5 years has passed, and you're just sitting here waiting for this person to come through, and nothing and nothing and nothing. And at some point you're just like energetically like, okay, I let go. I have to let go. I have to surrender, because it's not playing the way that I want it to. It's playing exactly how it's going to play out, and letting go of that sometimes is where our freedom comes from. So if this person got a reading on you, this is what they're getting. They're basically getting that you've moved on. And good for you, pile 2. I'm just saying, like, good for you, because this takes so much courage to be this honest with yourself and not be so connected to, I have to be with this person. Otherwise, there's no reason for my journey. There's no reason for me to go through all of this suffering. But guess what? At the end of the day, everybody experiences suffering, because life is always going to be lifing, and people are always going to be peopling, and we only have control over ourselves. No matter how energetically connected we are to another person, our energy is not going to influence another person. It can influence people that we connect with on a day-to-day basis because of the outward aura that we're putting on others. But no matter how much healing we do, if we're in one part of the world, that's not going to affect this person over here into making a choice to come towards us. They're going to have to choose for themselves whether they come towards us or not. And sometimes it's just a really hard answer to come to, because we've been told by so many, like, no, that's wrong. This person's meant to be your lover in this life. This person's meant to be a part of your life. This person's going to be this. But I've met people who have waited for 20 plus years on a labeled relationship, and they've told me that I'm never going to stop waiting for this person. And it breaks my heart, because you're saying, I'm going to put my life on hold for this person. I'm refusing to experience any other type of love. I'm refusing to connect with any other type of person in this way, because of this labeled connection that everybody's so obsessed with, right? And that's why it breaks my heart, because you're actually denying yourself a part of life where good potential could come back into your life. And I'm not saying that that's happening right now, but I'm saying that this is the information that this person's receiving right now. So they could be wondering if you have connected with another person, but they could be wondering if you're ever going to come back to them. And the answer that they're getting is no. It's just a no. It's just right now you're focused on yourself and being honest with yourself. Yeah, Archangel Gabriel, communication of all kinds. And I feel like you're definitely opening up to the signs and synchronicities that you're receiving from the divine realm, from the angels. You could be working very closely with Archangel Gabriel right now too, and getting some powerful wisdom from that. And I do feel like you've been getting a lot of signs and synchronicities to let go, and that might have been really hard for you. We have hunger that flipped over here. This is something that you pined for. This is something that drove you for quite a long time. Like, this is something that was on your heart, on your mind. Like, it consumed you for a long time. And now you're realizing like you have to fill that space in your life. And that's something really powerful. And to have faith that everything's going to work out for your greatest good, not what we want, right? What we want and our greatest good oftentimes aren't the same thing. They're not, right? We could want to stay in this house that we have that could be falling apart at the seams. And we think, oh, well, staying here is for my highest good. But then suddenly we move into a house that has less problems and is in an ideal location and is everything that we've ever wanted, right? We oftentimes are so connected and obsessive about holding on to a certain outcome that we're not actually seeing the potential of what could be. And I feel like that's where you're coming to right now, pile 2, is opening up to the potential of what could be. And I do feel like this person, whoever they are, is getting a slap of reality, because I do feel like they thought you were always going to wait for them and you're not any longer. And that hurts them egoically. Okay. And good for you, because you're not here to feed their ego. That was never your purpose. But for them, they definitely held you in that space for a long time. Is that like, oh, pile 2 is going to lift me up. Pile 2 is going to make me feel better. Pile 2 is going to take care of it for me. And that was never your job to fulfill. So we have here Mars in Scorpio with revenge. So, I mean, look at this. This guy's holding this head here. There's like these lovers here on the card. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of anger in this card as well. I do feel like there's a lot of release that you're letting go of here. And again, the shadow, right? The shadow part of your journey is coming through very clear. And it hasn't been easy facing this part of yourself, but the wisdom that you've garnered from it has been irreplaceable, because it's shown you a sense of freedom that you didn't know could exist. And I do feel like that they're saying like, oh, you chose to, this could be the tarot reader themselves, or this could be whoever's receiving this reading. They feel like you're doing this for revenge against them ghosting you, but it's not. That's not what this is. You love them and you'll always love them. You'll always care about them, but you just can't put your life on hold anymore for somebody who clearly doesn't want to make an effort for you. And they can interpret that however they want. But at the end of the day, it's just you honoring that this isn't good for you. Yeah, wow, we have Venus. We have Mars and Venus, both in Scorpio with secrets. Yeah, and right now, like, there's a lot that's unknown about you. And I feel like that's very scary to whoever this person is that's receiving this reading, because they thought they had you all figured out. And they don't. Like, there's just so much that's unknown about you, and they feel like you're going to find love without them. And you know what? You may find love without them. What I do know that's going to happen for you, pile 2, is that things are going to align for you and good things are going to come for you. And you're going to get somebody in your life that chooses you and puts in an effort for you and doesn't just leave you on red, or doesn't just like ghost you for no reason. Like, you're going to get somebody in your life that wants to be there and make the effort. And I feel like they're afraid right now because, oh my gosh, like they're not telling me what's going on. I used to know what was going on in their life, but you know what? They don't have that placeholder in your life any longer. Phobias, anxiety, and overcoming fears. Yeah, so this is what we've been talking about here, is overcoming those fears. Overcoming the fear that this person might not be the person you thought they were. Might not hold the position in your life that they thought that they would. And that's scary, but overcoming that fear is incredibly empowering. With personal power, yeah, strength and determination. Yeah, this is all about you empowering yourself on this journey in a way that you weren't able to before, when you were holding on to them, holding on to the idea, holding on to an outcome, whatever it is, right? Now you're empowering yourself. We have success coming through here. And success is guaranteed for you right now, whether that's in love, in life, and whatever it is. There's a lot of success that's coming for you here. So we're going to take a look at these cards. I'm going to read this one from the book. We're going to see what energies are on this one here. So we have the Libra parent. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? Is that you're goal-oriented, ambitious, and supportive. That sometimes your weaknesses can be pushy, stressful, and demanding. You interact in a sense of being insistent, involved, and evaluating. So we have September 23rd through October 22nd. So, you know, there's that energy there where you've been stressed out by this person, you've been stressed out by this situation, and you've demanded authenticity, but you've also demanded an answer, and they met you with silence. And that was in itself an answer for you. And now you're surrendering and letting go. And I want to say, no matter what happens with the situation, I'm really proud of you, because being able to do that on this journey, especially when so many people are telling you, hold on as tight as you can, you know, that takes true courage. So let's take a look at this card. I'm going to read this one from the book. We've got Brigid, you're a healer. Yeah, so you're definitely healing from this situation. You're coming from your heart chakra. A new beginning for sure coming through here, Brigid. Trust the healing energy of the goddess. Cross the threshold. So, it says, or Brigid, maybe it's Brigid, I don't know. Brigid, yeah. The Irish goddess of fire, water, healing, and medicine, poetry, and smithcraft. Her name means fiery arrow. Legend says that when she was born, a flame reached from her hand to the heavens. Her feast day, Imbolc, on the 1st of February, heralds the beginning of spring. Her symbols are thresholds, the hearth, sparks, and flames. It says, holy well, snowdrops, and the bride's cross made of reeds. The Celtic goddess of flame and the well has arrived to take you across the threshold. This is a reinitiation into your ancient healing powers from Mother Earth. Brigid boldly declares, you are a healer. You carry tools, remedies, skills earned during previous incarnations. The healing energy of the goddess is embedded in your cells. If you need healing yourself, let Brigid's bright blessings light the way. Strengthen your belief in your own power to heal. Or are you being called to facilitate healing for others? Remember, a healer's job isn't to rescue people from their problems. It's a humble role that helps someone call in their highest vision of health and well-being. It's always the person who's receiving the healing who chooses how, right? That's that free will energy coming in. Very powerful. Okay. The powerful ancient healer inside you may be scared of coming forward. You may be fearful of ridicule, criticism, or even punishment. Long ago, the deep knowledge you carry was stolen, discredited, or used against you. But it is safe now to light up the world with your healing gifts. You're here to facilitate deep healing for others and for Mother Earth. It says, be proactive and optimistic about healing yourself. You're stronger than you think. Use complementary or integrative therapies in combination with conventional medicine. An important spiritual gateway is opening, so cross the threshold with positive expectations. Spring clean your home to create space for new energy. Visit Brigid's holy wells in Ireland, for example, County Kildare. And the invocation is, healing energies flow through me. From the goddess, it is safe to heal. Yeah, and I feel like that's the thing. It's like safe for you to move on. That's something that maybe has been really scary for you because of the stigma that's been around labeled relationships, or even just if this is like somebody that you got a divorce from or that you broke up with and you spent an exorbitant amount of time with, like there's a lot of stigma about leaving a relationship that's just not for us. And that could come from religious backgrounds, that could come from spiritual backgrounds, that could come from familial backgrounds, whatever the situation is. There's definitely some sort of fear that you're healing from here and you're crossing the threshold into a new beginning for your journey. And I feel like that's choosing yourself and choosing your journey and choosing what makes you feel fulfilled now, instead of the partnership, instead of the love that maybe you were chasing in your life. You're just no longer chasing it. You're ready to receive, and that is going to open you up to something far more miraculous than you could have ever experienced or believed in your life, okay? So what a truly powerful reading here that I have for you today, pile number 2. Thank you so much for letting me connect with you in this way. If you felt like this was your reading, leave the little strong arm emoji down below and say, by choosing to heal myself, surrender, let go, and allow myself to be honest, I am inviting in what is best for my highest good. It's not about what I want. It's about what's truly best for my heart and soul. And I open to receive exactly that. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. So for that, I would like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this truly powerful message today. Thank you for being you, pile number 2. And until next time, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this card, the Taurus parent, or perhaps you felt called to this dice with the moon on it, or maybe you were drawn to this jade gemstone for the heart chakra with the seed sound yam on it. Or perhaps you felt called to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be your reading on how would a tarot reader describe you to them. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining us. I do things differently here on this channel, so there might be triggering statements that arise on the readings themselves. Remember, there is no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers are a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journeys. If the message resonates with you, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And please know that your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm deeply honored to be here sharing it with you today. I keep hearing this song, Break Even. I think it's by The Script. I think that's who sings it. It's like, I'm still alive, but I'm barely breathing. Just pray to a God that I don't believe in. 'Cause I got time while she got freedom. 'Cause when a heart breaks, so it don't break even. No, what am I supposed to do when the best part of me was always you? And what am I supposed to say when I'm all choked up and you're okay? I'm falling to pieces, yeah. I'm falling to pieces, yeah. I'm falling to pieces, right? Like, so I feel like the thing is that this could be somebody that's inquiring because they're interested in you in a love relationship, or what's coming through is like that. It's like you had to leave somebody in your life and it feels like they just moved on. Like you didn't even matter. And it was like all that time, that energy, and that effort that you put into the connection and the relationship, and maybe they were a narcissist, or maybe they were just not in love with you, or maybe they just jump from person to person, whatever it is. It's just, it's this energy that you're in right now, and this could be an old wound, right? But it's what's coming up right now in regards to what this person's inquiring about. It's like you're in a place where it's like you're left falling to pieces while this other person seemed to move on without you. You could have given the whole of who you are to this person. You could have been in it 150%, right? You were all in. You were ready to get married. You were ready to have a family with this person. You were ready to build a life with this person. But maybe things unfolded and you realized it was a toxic connection, or maybe you guys had different values or different end results or different goals, and things had to end. And when the connection broke up, like when you broke up with this person, it seemed like within a couple of weeks they were moved on to someone else, and they felt happy and they were sharing photos of this person. And maybe that's another thing too, is that like online, the person that you were with like never shared photos of you, and then all of a sudden here they are online sharing photos of somebody that's a lot younger than you, or that has a lot more success than you, or whatever, appearing so, right? Like, I'm just going to say it's appearing so, because it doesn't make it true. This could have been a ploy to make you feel bad about the situation, and to make you come running back or calling back even. And so I feel like this is just you trusting the process right now, but there's still a lot of heartbreak that's here. It doesn't have to be a love interest. This could be like a friendship or something like that as well. But it just feels like somebody in your life, like you had to end the connection because it wasn't working out. And they've moved on like you didn't even matter. And it hurts because I feel like you're a very loyal person, and when you care about somebody, like that's it, you're wholeheartedly into it. And also, pile 3, you might really resonate with the collective message at the beginning of the reading. There would definitely be some further information for you in regards to that. And if you feel called to that, you'll find that timestamp down below. It's not an obligation, but if you do feel called to it, it is there for you. Okay, so let's find out some more. How would a tarot reader describe pile number 3 to them, Source? How would a tarot reader describe you to them? What would you like to bring forth, Source? Yeah, the first house, Libra energy, and the Sun. You might have also come from another pile as well. So like specifically pile 2 for sure. You don't have to watch multiple piles. It's not a requirement at all. But there's this energy that's coming through where it's like you're realizing that you want something more than superficial. And that's what makes you happy, is people who are willing to go the distance. Because I can go the distance. I can find my way. Right? What is that? A Hercules song? Okay. Yeah, you want people to go the distance with you. You want people to be willing to put forth the effort. And you're tired of these superficial connections where people aren't really willing to get down and into the nitty and gritty of what it means to be in a relationship with somebody. And so you're learning how to stand on your own, to find balance on your journey with yourself. And it's not been easy. But I also feel like through this, you've actually connected with maybe a collective of people who have gone through a similar situation as you. So this could be an online presence that you have. You could be also with like a forum. Maybe you joined a forum, or you joined like a group or something like that, where you talk about what it is that you experienced with somebody and how they just moved on like you didn't matter. This could also be therapy, and in therapy you've connected with other people, like maybe they recommended a website that you go to or something like that. But I do feel like you're connecting with other people that have shared a similar experience with you, and you're learning how to express yourself and being vulnerable and honest about what it is that you went through with said person in the past. So I don't think who's inquiring about you is this person from the past. It could be them. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like this is someone who just wants to know like where you're at energetically and like what's going on with you. And I feel like that's the thing. It's like you're still feeling broken from the situation. And please know, pile 3, if that's where you're at, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. There's nobody here saying like you should have already gotten over it. Like that's one and done. Like, oh, it happened so many years ago. Like you should be over it. No, like healing takes its time, and it's different for every person, and there's no rushing it here, okay? The thing is that you have to go through what you have to go through, and I feel like that's exactly what you're trying to do right now, is you're trying to find balance again. You're learning to love yourself. You're learning to invite in harmony into your life, and you're learning to stand strong on your own 2 feet without relying on someone else to be there for you. You could have never known what it was to be single in your life or alone. Like maybe you've always had people around you, and right now there's definitely an emphasis on you finding what it means to stand on your own and to express yourself. Maybe you're not alone. Maybe you are married or with kids, but this could have been a friendship, and you're learning how to express yourself outside of a friendship or outside of even just your relationship and your marriage. Like who are you when it's just you? And that's the emphasis right now, is learning how to balance that out and really lean into that. And through that, you're standing up into a leadership position with others in your life. So this could be with your kids, right? Leading your kids and teaching them how to be independent and to be strong with who they are and to not sacrifice themselves just because of a connection. This could also be with other friends in your life, with siblings, with parents, with whoever this is. It's like, I feel like you're definitely becoming a role model for people who are around you and who are close to you right now. Let's get some more. We're going to look into the Tarot Marseille. Whoever this was that broke your heart, right? We always liken broken hearts to romantic, but it's so much more. I mean, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be even coworkers. It doesn't have to be romantic. But I feel like the thing is that you really valued their opinion of you, and maybe you completely lost yourself in that connection because you wanted to impress them and you wanted them to like you, and you thought that that was what love was too. And that's something that you're learning how to re-love yourself, or to even just start loving yourself outside of a partnership or a connection that's dissolved. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? You're finding clarity and confidence again. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? Pile 3. How would a tarot reader describe you to them? How would a tarot reader describe you to them? Pile 3. Yeah, interesting. Bottom of the deck, we've got the moon in the upright. That's the thing, like you, okay. Whoever this person was, like, this could even be like a parent or somebody in your family. Like, this is you learning how to not just spill all the beans, right? You're in a place where there's so much mystery that surrounds you right now because there has to be, right? That's part of learning to stand on our own, is not giving too much information away to people who don't take us seriously, or people who, you know, are going to use that for nefarious means, or who are dubious in some way, right? And you're learning how to balance that out. Truly, like it's okay for me not to tell people certain aspects of my life. It's okay for me not to give it all away. Give it away, give it away, give it away now, okay? I don't know who sings that song. I know someone mentioned it way back when, on a reading way back when it came out again, but I don't remember who sings that, but that's coming in. I think that's a really old song. Yeah, and that's where it was, is like, maybe at some point you felt like it was your responsibility to be 100% open and honest with people about every aspect of your life. So what you were, I feel like your emotions didn't actually play a part in this. I feel like this is actions and situations that were unfolding in your life. So maybe your money, where your money was at, the bills that you had to pay, like how you might have been struggling from paycheck to paycheck, or how you were saving a certain amount of money, or, and I know money's coming through really strongly here, but that could be like maybe the things that your kids said to you, or maybe the things that your friends were saying to you. Like, I feel like this was a play-by-play in your life, and that's something that you had gotten used to sharing with others, maybe because it was expected when you were growing up. Like, your parents expected it from you, or the people who were around you expected a play-by-play of everything that went on in your day. And something has shifted in your energy where you're realizing now people ask this because they're just trying to get information that they can use against you, and that allowing people to be nosy and answering those questions is just a form of self-sabotage. And that's a responsibility that you don't want to carry. You don't want to carry self-sabotage in that form. I mean, you don't want to carry it at all, but this is something that's definitely becoming glaringly aware, like you're becoming glaringly aware of right now. Yeah, and how you struggled to set emotional boundaries with people. So this could be like friends or people in your, maybe even coworkers, asking you personal, intimate details about what goes on behind closed doors at home. This could be them asking intimate details about your sex life, right? This could be asking intimate details about what people have said to you that they don't need to know. Like, it's information they don't need to be privy to. And you're finding balance with this again. You're learning how to create an air of mystery around you and keep things safe. And this is safeguarding yourself as well. And I feel like the thing is that you recognized along your journey that there's a lot of people who never actually cared about how you were feeling emotionally. And that's why you always put your emotions on the back burner. Like, you're really good at shoving how you feel down beneath the surface. And like, if you're on the verge of tears, a couple of swallows and you've shoved those tears down and they're not going to come out again for a little while. But maybe the next time they come out, like, a couple of tears fall down your face, but again, you swallow and then you like swallow it back in. And I feel like right now you're learning how to experience your own emotions without telling people those intimate details, because you see there's a lot of people in your life right now that don't have the best of intentions for you. Maybe even this person who's getting this reading on you included. And they could be like, well, why aren't they telling me anything anymore? And the reason why you're not telling them anything anymore is because you've learned how to protect yourself. And you have learned that maybe everything that you were sharing with others, they were using it as a weapon against you, and they were trying to manipulate you, and they were trying to control you in some way, shape, or form. And for you, it's about finding peace, and part of that peace was just really drawing away from sharing those details with others. So, like, you don't deserve to know that because it's none of your business. You know, and I know money is the thing that keeps coming up, but it could be anything, right? It could be, again, it could be with your kids. Maybe it's something you don't want to share about with your kids. That's fine. Maybe it's something medically that you don't want to share. Maybe it's something that's with your home that you don't want to share. Again, your life is your life, and it's yours to maintain. It's not for everybody. With the Five of Cups in the reverse here, it's talking about people who are nosy. And I mean, that's just really a basic idea of the Five of Cups in reverse. It definitely goes a lot deeper than that. But if we were to just look at it at its face value, people who are nosy, we're like people who are nosy for a sense of gossip, people who are nosy who want to gather information to use against you, people who are nosy who want to harm you in some way, shape, or form. Like, they're trying to gather intel on you so that they can find a weakness for you, because in the past you've definitely been in this energy of self-sabotage, and you're the one that's tired of that. You're tired of being in an energy of self-sabotage. You're trying to protect yourself. You're trying to protect your heart. You're trying to protect what's yours, and that comes with a cost, and that cost is a boundary, and that boundary is sometimes the hardest thing that we have to set up on our journey, especially emotionally here with the Seven of Cups in the reverse. The emotional boundaries have just been, maybe they've been bullied through, or like people have crossed those boundaries, and for you it's been like easier just to let them continue to cross those boundaries than it was to stand up for yourself. But that's not where you're at anymore. You're learning how to stand up for yourself. You're learning how to say enough is enough. And this could have been a narcissist in your life. Yeah, this could have been someone you were in love with that was a narcissist that you finally had to let go of because it was a very unbalanced situation, and there was a lot of heartbreak that came with this. But it could have been family, it could have been friends, it could be anybody. Okay, the main thing is that you had to make a choice. Is it worth it to let people keep pushing my boundary, or is it worth it to stand firm? And you're learning right now how to stand firm on your boundaries, and I feel like that's something that was really challenging for you in the past. So the person that's inquiring could have been somebody that you set a boundary with. I do feel like this is somebody who benefited from you sharing your life like a soap opera at some point. Okay, and again, it's no judgment here. Like, we have to learn. Like, that's part of us learning. And if that's who you were at some point, it's either because you were led to believe that that was the only way that you were going to be accepted, or it's because you were replaying how you were when you were a child. Like maybe it was expected of you as a child, or maybe that's how your whole family was, or, you know, whatever the situation is. There's no judgment, no blame here at all. But you have recognized the self-sabotaging behavior here and how difficult it's been for you to find some semblance of balance in your life. I actually want to get some clarifiers here. Can we have some clarifiers for pile 3? Yeah, the mind coming out here with the Knight of Swords. This has created a lot of mental discord for you. A lot of imbalance, and that's something that you're trying to clear out here, right? The 3 of Cups with celebration. You're realizing that not letting everybody in intimately into your life in that way actually is far more beneficial for you. Yeah, the Source. So this has been a message from Source. This is the Ace of Wands. So you got the Ace of Wands twice here. I'm going to leave this out here on the bottom. Yeah, this has been a message from Source. Like, Source gave you that guidance. Your angels gave you that guidance. It's like drawing you away from situations where people were just trying to garner information and use it against you. So we have water here with Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, spirituality, emotion, intuition, and compassion. You have been somebody that has struggled trusting your intuition because of the chaos that has ensued around you. Or if you've used, like you said, oh, you know, like, I feel like you've done this, and then people completely lying to your face, and that's made you question your intuition. Like, I just feel like there's always been pushback against the truth that you've been feeling, and people trying to make you feel like, oh no, there's no way that you had that right. Like, there's definitely been a lot of pushback, especially when it comes to your intuition. And I feel like Source wants to remind you to trust your intuition. It's more on point than you give it credit for. And I feel like when you don't have pushback, when you don't have people telling you like, oh, you're crazy or this, that, and the other, like, you see it playing out, like how intuitive you are. You see how on point your intuition is. But sometimes you're getting to that feeling of like, oh, I can't trust myself. You know, other people made me feel like I can't trust myself. And that's just a reminder from Source to trust yourself. That illusion that keeps popping up is what you're overcoming. And there's something really good on the other side of that for you. You're moving beyond the self-sabotage and trusting in the creative spiritual process with Source, that this is about co-creation. But co-creation is a very personal journey. It's between you and what you believe in, you and your faith. Faith is not, like, I know faith is definitely a community thing, especially like when Christianity, like the reason why Christianity or like Catholicism and Mormonism, like why they've been super popular is because it's created a community. And that's why they're super popular religious wise. Why spirituality is not as popular, or if you believe in, I can't remember what they call it, polydeity, I think is what it's called, instead of one God, and you believe in multiple gods and goddesses. You know, I'm not here to say what's right or wrong, but history shows that the reason why monodeity, I think is what it's called, why it went so popular is because it created a community where everybody worshiped the same God, where everybody worshiped the same being. And versus like believing in multiple things, or even spirituality, why it's not necessarily as popular or hadn't been as popular for a long time is because it was deeply personal to each person, and not everybody believed the same way as you. But I feel like it's just good to remind us that with our faith, faith is between you and God, you and Source, you and the universe, you and whatever you believe in. Okay, I'm not here to tell you what that is, but it's a very personal thing because you're the only one that can continue to grow that faith. No one can grow it for you. It's not something that's community oriented. Community offers us a sense of support, and we can find community in all different types of things. It's interesting that I'm talking about this on your reading pile 3, because maybe this is religion. Maybe you grew up in a place where it's like, oh, well, to be honest means to share everything. Or maybe you grew up with a Catholic background and it was all about going and confessing your sins in the confessional. And, you know, it's about telling them every little thing that you did that was considered a sin is like, and that's something that's coming through, right? But Also, it felt like there was a lot of self-deprivation here, a lot of self-harm too that came from that. It's like self-judgment and self-criticism that came from that. Is like, oh, well, they told me that I could do this to get out of it. But also it's like coming into this space of celebrating yourself. And I feel like that's exactly what you're doing. That would make sense too with that song coming in. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship, but it could be breaking away from something that felt stable in your life, right? Like, so when a heart breaks, no, it don't break even. It doesn't necessarily mean romantic love. It could point towards something that you had given your whole heart to, a religion, a way of life, a way of living, you know, like it, and breaking away from that and finding something else has left you feeling unstable, but at the same time, a sense of hope because you're finding balance with protecting yourself from something that was otherwise incredibly nosy and incredibly intrusive is the word. So we have house 8 here with transformation, karma, facing fears and legacies. Yeah, so you're definitely facing a really deep fear here, like a fear of letting this go, fear of overcoming this, and that's where you're at right now. And that's what a tarot reader would tell them about you, is that right now you're facing a huge transformation. On the bottom, yeah, Chiron, hurt and heal. You definitely could have resonated with one of the other readings. And really quickly, if you've watched all 3 readings, leave a purple heart down below. That makes you a part of my Purple Heart Club. I know what that means. You can also say I made it. And if not, that's fine. I just want to say I really appreciate whoever spends any amount of time with me on these readings. It's truly a blessing. But this is a part of your deepest wounding, what this has had. So that's why it's self-sabotage. It's a part of your deepest wounding. It's something that you felt called to time and time again to experience until you were ready to face it head on. And now you're in this space of facing it head on. And that's why it doesn't feel like it happened in an even way, right? It didn't, because it feels like whatever the circumstance was or the person who was involved in this, it feels like they're the ones who ended up out on top. But the reality of the situation is that right now you're gaining such a deep wisdom from the experience. The lesson from the experience itself is leaving you with knowledge that you will have that's invaluable for the rest of your life. So we have Sun and Gemini with versatility. You're also learning how to adapt to very difficult situations right now. It's not that you didn't in the past. It's just this is something that you weren't ready to face, and now you're learning how to adapt to it. We have the Sun in Cancer here with resourcefulness. Yeah, you're learning very, very powerful tools. Trusting in the messages from Source with the Crow here. Trusting in the messages from the Divine. And trusting in your intuition. It's okay for you to follow your intuition. That's part of your resourcefulness, is following your intuition. It hasn't been easy for you, but it is bringing you really powerful results. You could be a psychic medium. You could have one of the clairs or a mixture of any of the clairs. Incredibly intuitive regardless. You're extremely intuitive, and I feel like that's something that comes out that's really powerful right now, is this moment in time where you're choosing to trust what your heart is telling you. You're choosing to trust that you don't have to explain anything to anybody. You're choosing to trust that expression doesn't mean me sharing every intimate detail of my life with others, but I can share things along the way if I like to, right? Yeah, presence of absence. Hold what is absence in the presence of your love. So this could be a generational curse. That's what I'm getting with this presence of absence. This is something that was passed down. Like if you notice, she's sitting at the table and she has all these pictures surrounding her, her husband, her grandkids, her daughter, her son, like all these pictures surrounding her. It's like these are all memories from the past, all experiences from the past. Generational curses that you've had to overcome, things that have been passed down from possibly your grandmother's lineage, and learning how not to be. I heard, it's odd, I heard dirty bird, and I don't know what that means. I don't, but because I think what they're showing me is trying to be like a gossiping bird, like the clucking like a hen. That's what it was, clucking like a hen. And again, it's not a jab at you or anything like that. I feel like it's just you didn't know when you were doing it, and you've had to learn how to be different. And it's just like always having something to say, or always it's not necessarily making the conversation always about you. That's not what I'm feeling here. I feel like it's just sharing intimate details because you didn't know any better. And people using that against you. And then people expecting you to share those details later on. And that's where you're learning that I don't have to do that. And so people might be trying to treat you a certain way because you're no longer sharing those details. There's definitely the silent treatment coming in here. You're experiencing some sort of aggression that's coming in here too. There's some sort of like someone trying to make you feel guilty, like, well, I deserve to know that. And you're asking why, and they don't have a valid reason as to why, except for, well, you've always told me that before, so why don't I get to know it now? And you might be coming back with, well, I don't owe you an explanation, and they're not accepting that, and they're trying to make you feel guilty about this. So there's a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of blame that's coming in right now. Yeah, malefics. Look at this. Beware of challenges. This has just been a super challenging situation for you. And, you know, it's not a jab at you, right? Like, this is not a jab at you. This is something you've had to learn. You've had to learn that what you experience in your life is extremely precious. What you have in your life is extremely precious. And above all else, you yourself, pile 3, are extremely precious. And if you don't cherish those things in yourself, then you can invite anybody in. And I feel like that's something that you've had to learn to overcome. And I've been there too, you know, like I've been there too, especially like I was talking about money earlier on. I grew up in a family where my family, every time we sat down for dinner and every time we sat down just at all, whether that was with extended family or just, you know, immediate family, the only thing we all talked about was our jobs, how much money we earned, how much overtime we worked, how much our paycheck was this week, what bills we had going out, what money we were going to spend. And let me tell you, everybody in the family always had their ideas of whatever money was left over, how it should have been spent. And it's the weirdest thing. Like, I look back on it now, and I've learned through my journey that the money that I earn is my business and my business alone. Like, nobody in my family is entitled to that information. But I went through a period of time where, because that's how our family showed up, I mean, I'm talking everybody in our family. That's all we all talked about. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, mom, dad, like siblings, like that's all we talked about. It's wild to think about now. But when I started shifting and I started realizing like what I make is nobody's business, I said that. And I remember the first time I said that, it was a disaster. Everybody got so mad. They're like, well, we all share this with each other and you need to share this with us too. And we need to know how much you're making because we need to know where your money's going. And I was like, why does that matter? Why does that matter? So then I started asking the exact same questions that I was getting asked growing up too. I was like, well, so how much is your house payment? How much do you put towards extra on your house payment? You know, how much do you put in the savings? Like, I started asking some really personal questions. And they're like, well, you don't need to know that. And I'm like, so if I don't need to know that, then why do you need to know how much money I make and where my money's going? And that was such an empowering time for myself. And I feel like that's my own personal experience. But I feel like that same energy is what you're going through right now, where you're realizing how to empower yourself and say, you don't need to know. Whatever it is. It could be with your kids. This could be with your family. This could be with your love life, your life behind closed doors. Like, it just feels very, very close to home. And it's like people were poking and prodding into that, and it was causing a lot of disruptions. And now you're like, no, like, you don't need to know about that. Like, it doesn't matter. And that's the thing, like, there's sometimes when people are just, they're so used to getting it from you, they feel like, oh, well, I'm entitled to that. No, nobody's entitled to, like, here's the thing, pile 3, you don't owe anybody anything at all. You don't owe anybody in the world anything at all. You get to choose who you bring into that information, your life, and into that personal circle. You get to choose that. It's not an entitled space. It's not an entitled part of your life. No one is entitled to that. No one. Courage. I find inner strength to face fear with confidence. Yeah, so I do feel like this is you facing a fear where you felt obligated. There's some sort of obligation that you felt you had to uphold here. with this situation, whatever this is. Honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it for myself. And being completely honest with yourself right now, this has helped you move beyond something that was otherwise incredibly challenging. It's helping you, like, again, it's like that, like, oh, if they're asking about money, or say they're asking about your kids, like, they need to know what your kids' grades are. And you're like, that doesn't matter. And they're saying, yes, it does. We need to know, because we need to know if, you know, they're going to get into this school or they're going to get into this school. And you're like, that doesn't matter. That's something between me and my kids, and I'm going to take care of that. You know, or if you have like grandparents that are trying to set up your kids with certain people, like certain love interests or something like that. Like, it just feels like meddling. That's what it feels like. And when you stand up and you say, like, no, that's not your business. And they're saying, yes, it is, because it's our family. That's what makes it our business. And you're like, no, that's between me and them. And we're gonna face it together, and you don't need to be a part of that. It feels like that was something that was really scary for you to say at some point in time. But there's that shift that's happening. Devotion, spiritual practices, intuitive history. Yes, trusting your intuition. Oh, I love that this card came out for you. Your intuitive history. Like, you're seeing, that's what I was saying, like, you were questioning your intuition for a while, but when no one's around to make you question it, you see how on point it is. And that's what Source is saying here, is trust your intuition. And I feel like that's the thing too, like, whoever's getting this reading on you might be very scared because they know how intuitive you are and they don't want you to trust your intuition. Yeah, frustration flipping over here. Yeah, there's definitely frustration. Whoever's getting this reading on you, they're frustrated about the situation. They're trying to, you know, it's like they're trying to ascertain some details so that they can garner control over you, and that's just not working. Yeah, reflection, because you're in a state of seeing the situation for what it is. You're reflecting on your own actions. You're making a choice to change, and that's completely altered this whole situation. I'm gonna get this one next. We're gonna see, yeah, pain. Yeah, there's been a lot of pain, a lot of heartbreak here with this situation, a lot of upset. That's why it hasn't been easy. And then we have Jupiter and Leo with publicity. Yeah, so this just feels like, again, 5th house energy can connect to gossip with publicity here. It's like things going public. So it feels tiara, pointing towards the world. We also have north, south, east, and west here. It's like every corner of the world knows something here that they shouldn't, and you're learning how to step outside of that. You're learning how to move beyond that. It's like things that were made public before, you're saying enough is enough, and it's like people are expecting you to go back to that old way of being, but you saw how much trouble it caused. You saw how much it even frustrated you. And who's ever asking about this doesn't want you to be courageous, but you're stepping into a time in your life where you're trusting your intuition above all else. Misalignment. It says miracles become normal once we face all of the aspects of our life in the same direction. Yeah, so you're seeing the misalignment between these people, this person, this situation, and what's going on with your heart and what's going on with your inner truth. That's why you're so focused on self right now. Leo, confidence is key. And you're definitely building up your confidence for sure. Yeah, loneliness. Look, again, the world, right? The world here. I know that I'm never alone. So that's the thing. Maybe this was something where it's like people are like, well, you're not telling me, so now you have to deal with it alone. And I just don't want you to be alone. Like, they're using some sort of excuse to make you feel guilty for trying to get this information from you. And you're realizing, like, that me sharing this with you, or me letting you in on this, is what made me feel more lonely than anything else. And this is what a tarot reader would tell them. Education. You learned your lesson. Yeah. And I feel like you're passing that on. Like, if you have kids, like, this is a very important lesson that you're passing on to kids. You're like reminding them, like, you know, like, when you guys grow up and you get older, like, you're gonna have to deal with things by yourself. And it's like, I'll always be here to support you, but just know, like, the type of information that maybe your grandparents are asking for, maybe this person's asking for, like, you don't have to tell anybody that, but just know that I'll always be here for you. I do feel like you're helping other people. I feel like I said that at the beginning too, like, you're inspiring people around you to find balance. And this is a lesson that's been learning to find new direction on their journey. So we're going to take a look at this card and read this card. I'm going to read this one from the book. We're going to see what it says. So how would a tarot reader describe you to them? The Taurus parent. You're giving, you're nurturing, and you're dedicated. Your weaknesses can be autocratic, threatening, and undependable. Your interactive style is affectionate, protective, and controlling. Yeah, so this could have been people who've definitely felt threatened by you, or people who felt like now you're becoming undependable because you're not sharing this information, but you're learning how to nurture yourself and to give back to yourself in a very positive way, and protecting yourself the way that you feel like you always should have. And just know that you're doing a good job of that. Let's take a look at this card. I'm going to read this from the book. Yeah, face your shadow. A lot of shadow energy here coming out. So what you're doing is seen as odd by other people right now because there's so many people who don't want to face the shadow, right? Like facing the shadow is not easy, but you're doing that and you're overcoming something that has been overwhelming you for a long time. It says, Lilith, heal taboo emotions and step into the light. She's known as the Jewish mythology as the first created woman. She refused to take a submissive role to Adam in the Garden of Eden, liberating her wing. That's why religion came through. That's why it came up. Okay, I totally understand that now. Lilith flew back to her Mesopotamian homelands, a dark, deep force of the feminine spirit. Lilith is provoking those who misunderstand her. Patriarchy has painted her as corrupt and dangerous, and that's because she's transformative feminine powerhouse. Lilith's symbols are the owl for wisdom and the snake for chakra healing and spiritual sexual awakening. So this could be people wanting information about your sexual life as well too. Relationships, your romantic life, what's going on behind closed doors. Does anybody have any sexual problems? Like I just feel like it feels really personal. If it's not sexual, that's just how personal it feels, is that. Okay? It says Lilith sees everything that you strive to keep hidden from view. Yeah, so this is the hidden. It's like hiding valuable information. Drawing this card shows that you've arrived at a point of significant transformation. Lilith meets you at the crossroads. She holds out her hands and says, your spirit vibrates with secret powers of old. The wisdom yearns to be shared and used for rebirth of the feminine soul. The only way you'll access this power now is to face your shadow side. It's everything within you that's been censored, stifled, and denied. Your deep-seated rage, your crippling shame. Shame was coming out really, really heavy in your reading too. Your fathomless fear, your traumas and wounds, and your feeling of unworthiness. You've labeled these feelings as taboo and have never felt able to accept and work through them. Sometimes the forbidden shadow emotions leak out. Didn't I say you're really good at hiding your emotions? Like you swallow and then you're okay. And then it comes out a little bit more the next time, but you swallow and then I'm pretty sure I said that on your reading, pile 3. So that's just another confirmation. Sometimes the forbidden shadow emotions leak out, leading you down paths of sabotage, right? We were talking about that, sabotage and self-destruction. Feelings of envy and the self-pity hinder you. With me, you can release self-judgment and look bravely into your hidden self. I'll lead you into safe spaces where all your secrets can be spoken. This will release enormous waterfalls of energy, and it will unlock your creativity, potential, and passions. It will illuminate the divine talents you've been keeping under wraps. And that's that, coming in again and starting to trust your intuition. Says you'll create your dreams not because of luck, chance, or fate, but through realizing all the power that you'll ever need is within you. Don't be afraid. You're ready to shine. The additional meanings here are seek professional settings through thorough shadow work, and shadow energy is influencing the person or situation you're inquiring about. The invocation is my shadow is my inner teacher. This is such a powerful message, and I feel like that's exactly where you're at right now, is you're healing the shadow part of yourself, which comes from focusing on self-healing and self-expression, right? That's what we find through our shadow, because it's all those parts of ourselves that we've denied or we felt weren't worthy of being seen. And part of what wasn't being worthy of being seen was the ability to say no to the people who felt entitled to your energy or felt entitled to your information. And I feel like you're in this place of being self-empowered right now as you go through. And this is what they would tell somebody who would get a tarot reading on you right now. This is how they describe you in this moment. And I feel like you're in a very powerful crossroads in your life. And remember that you're doing a good job. And please, please, please celebrate yourself, pile 3, because that's what you need. You've already been through the self-deprecation. You've already been through the self-judgment. You've already been through the self-sabotage. Now's the time to celebrate yourself and remind yourself just how powerful you truly are. Okay? Here's a big energetic hug. You're doing an amazing job, and remember that you matter. If you felt like this was your reading today, leave the black heart emoji down below and say, my shadow is my biggest teacher, and it's showing me how to love, accept, and celebrate myself in this here now moment. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. So I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this message. I can't make this up. It is 5:55 on the clock right now. So another synchronicity for you, pile 3. So it's all about change. The transformation is here in this moment. So with that being said, until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye.